What's up, Ellipses Podcast fam? Welcome back. And if this is your first time here, welcome home. My name is Deja Terry, and this is a podcast for the soul. Y'all grab your snacks, kick off your shoes, grab your notepads, get in some comfy clothes, because today God has hit me with it, and we are talking about the topic of being two-faced, but it's on a whole different level. So let's dive in. And I know that, everybody is going through a lot right now. There are so many shifts happening in the spirit. There are so many things going on. And this is just one of the things that we're talking about today, that we can kind of get a grasp on. But I just want you, first of all, to know the life that we are living right now, you are not alone, and everybody is going through similar things. And I just want to know that I am here for you. We are all doing this together, and do not feel like you are alone, and in this new season that we're all about to jump into, I just want you to think about, have you ever been in a place where you've ever felt like you were lacking? Like, it could be, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And there's this scripture that I want to mention, and it's Psalms 55:21, and it says, "His words are as smooth as butter, but in his heart is war. His words are as soothing as lotion, but underneath are daggers." And this scripture reminded me of times where we feel like, in order to make ourselves feel better for what we're lacking, we try to cover it up and make up for it. So, for example, that could be diving into work. It could be getting our nails and our hair done, getting new hair, getting new clothes, getting new shoes, going into relationships, going to the gym, and just distracting ourselves from the holes that we have. And it could also come in the position of, you're pursuing the things that God is telling you to pursue, but now you're doing it with the wrong intention. So what you're expecting to come to fruition doesn't come to fruition because you didn't go into it with the right intentions. Because a lot of times we choose to run from the mirror of reflection of ourselves spiritually. And we don't want to face the truth and face God himself to tell us, where we're lacking and what we need to fix. Because there are times in our lives and seasons in our lives too, where we don't want the responsibility. We don't want to do the work. We want everything extremely quickly with, at least as work possible. But God says, he only takes us through the deepest parts of the mud when he needs us to go through something, so that we have a story to be able to carry to the next person through what they're going through, so that they're able to fly over hurdles that they originally would have tripped over had God not put us in a position to be able to go through it, so they don't have to go through it. And we have to water our potential. I can't say this enough. We have to water our potential. Everyone knows that if you don't water the plant, it doesn't grow. It's going to stay dry. You're going to be like, why isn't my plant growing? You're not watering it. And you have to water the potential to bring out what is hidden in the spiritual into the physical. I'm going to say that again. You have to water the potential to bring out what is hidden in the spiritual into the physical. Many of us have so much potential, but we have to understand it will always be potential until you begin to do the work. That means digging into the places that you've buried and built over. Meaning you have to rip up the foundation that was built on rocky foundation from the beginning and relay the foundation by looking in the mirror, seeing what's broken, seeing what's flawed, and humble yourself enough to allow God to mend you from the inside out. And there are many of us who have began to do that work, but now some of us are in a place where we're picking and choosing what we want to dig up. And I hear God saying he wants all of it, even the pieces that we've buried and felt like they're too deep to reach. In order to be thrusted into this new season of your life, you need certain puzzle pieces. And over the years, and like Scrabble, God has given us pieces to the full picture that is your purpose. And for a long time, you've tried to put these pieces together, but they aren't fitting when you think that they really should fit. And you're like, I don't understand. I've seen God show me so much. I thought it was enough to be able to put the picture together, but it's still not fitting. Why? Because the big pieces that you need to see the big picture, the big pieces that you need to allow God to shift you into this season requires the work of the digging. A lot of times we'll go through things that don't make sense. Some of that is childhood trauma, relationship merry-go-rounds, family issues, battles with the mind. The list just goes on. But what you have to understand is, depending on where God is taking you and what your purpose is, God has to take us through certain things in order for us to be able to carry our responsibilities well. For example, like if your calling is to go into foster homes, right, and mentor kids, but you've never been through an itch of what they're going through, how can you expect to reach them? So when you're going through this season of having to dig up those pieces that God is telling you to dig up and give to him and heal, don't negate those heavy pieces that you've gone through, because they do fit into the big picture. And when we go through these things, it's like adding a piece of armor to help protect us later when we go into our new season, into our new battle. So now the enemy has to come strategic, because now you have pieces of armor that blocks him from the left and from the right. And as you let God carry you into this new season, the enemy is going to come, and with a drawn out plan, because of the armor, that you have put on, and you have to be prepared. And I say this a lot, and the enemy only attacks those who he sees as a threat. And, Psalms 55:22 says, "Give your burdens to the Lord, and he will take care of you. He will not permit the godly to slip and fall." And for many of us, before God, lifts us, we have to be stripped of all the weight that holds us back. And for some, it may feel like a season of isolation, but all he's doing is repositioning you so that going into this next season with enough capacity, to carry you for your purpose in this new season. So stop avoiding the mirror, reach in, dig up those old wounds, and let God heal them. Water the potential in you so that what's hidden in the spiritual comes out in the physical. Don't be afraid of the work. And, God will never put anything on your plate that you can't handle. And you have to remember, y'all, we're going through this thing called life together. It can get heavy. It can get stressful. It can get overwhelming. And it can feel like we are truly alone and that nobody else is going through the things that we are going through. But I'm telling you, we are all going through similar things. And we have to stick together spiritually and know that, we are rocking this thing out together. We have to remember, we are spirits having a human experience, not humans having a spiritual experience. So please do not do life alone. This is your podcast for the soul. I love you guys. You have been listening to the Ellipses podcast. And until next week, I love you, fam. Have an amazing week, and I'll catch you in the next one. Good night.